Would either of you guys put Grant Hill or Penny Hardaway in the Hall of Fame?
I would put Penny in the
You
Hall.
would, okay?
Yeah.
Despite not the long career.
Right. I mean, he, kind of like Terrell Davis.
That's where I'm going. So you're a believer that Terrell Davis should also be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah. I was not upset when he made it in the Hall. He was not I did not think he would have made it, but I'm definitely not upset with it.
Okay. Brett?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Terrell Davis should be in the Hall of Fame as well. So Davis was somebody that I think if he hadn't gotten in this year, a lot of people would have been upset.
Okay.
Kind of like Terrell. Well, not. I don't know if they'd be the stage.
Right. Well,
Terrell Owens
that was
going to
be my question. Terrell Owens is upset, but does Terrell Owens have a gripe here?
T.O.'s got a point. He should be in.
Yeah.
And I don't like when the media kind of almost blacklists players like they did with Chris Carter for several years. And Chris Carter's a first ballot,
right? In
my opinion. I think T.O.'s also a first ballot.
I agree.
We're going on 3 years now. T.O. didn't make the Hall.
Right.
He should be.
And the crazy thing is something that had been kind of brought up to me that I didn't necessarily recognize until having the conversation. A friend of mine had brought up. He said, he goes, T.O. isn't in again. He goes, he said, for some reason it seems that wide receivers just don't seem to get in on the first ballot. And I was like, well, that's not necessarily true. Just off the top of my head, I didn't think of that. I said, the reason that guys don't get in right away, first ballot, is usually if they only have off-the-field issues. But then when I thought about it, you have Terrell Owens, who's still fighting to get in, Marvin Harrison, who took a little while to get in, Chris Carter, who took a little while to get in. I can't remember.
Andre Reed.
I can't remember the last wide receiver.
Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice would have been the last wide receiver to get in on the first ballot. And now they released next year. Is Randy Moss on for next year?
Randy Moss is in next year.
And if he doesn't get in first ballot,
he's got to be a shoo-in.
You would think so.
Yeah.
That now the questions again remain. He had some off the field turmoil that does it hold him out. Despite arguably being the greatest wide receiver of all time.
Right. It seemed like there was like a bit of a backup on wide revers. It seemed, I think, one time there Chris Carter, Tim Brown, Andre Reed, and Marvin Harrison were all finalists, but none of them got in. and then they finally started bringing them in with Chris Carter, then Brown, then Reed, then Harrison.
Right.
Now it's not like now that Randy Moss is coming in, he'll be maybe competing with Randy Moss, but it's not like he was competing with any other receivers on this list. Maybe Isaac Bruce, or Torrey Holtz. But
now, do you think that maybe, just a personal opinion question?
Yeah.
Terrell Owens and Randy Moss kind of have similar numbers for their career in terms of receptions, yards, touchdowns, things like that. Do you think that this could actually be a benefit to Terrell Owens, where people are going to talk about Randy Moss and his career numbers, and then you look at Terrell Owens, whose numbers are very comparable, that they can say, wow, this guy was almost as good as Randy Moss, if not as good, that it could maybe help Terrell Owens and bring his achievements to the forefront a little more?
In a perfect world, it would.
Okay.
But I think, the media, it seems like whenever somebody doesn't get in, they always say, oh, well, we only wanted one of these positions to get in this year. Kind of, when Kurt Warner didn't get in last year.
Right.
Oh, well, Brett Favre got in. We only wanted one quarterback.
Yeah.
But this isn't the case. It shouldn't be.
Right.
There were two running backs in. Ladainian, Tomlinson, and TD got in.
Yeah.
So obviously positions is not a problem.
Right.
It's not a problem, and it shouldn't.
It's the media's way to make an excuse for not putting a certain player in. But I want to go through this year's list so you could just kind of touch on each person here, maybe something that you guys remember about each player having. I think the only person that maybe we haven't seen would probably be Kenny Easley. But just kind of go through, touch on each one, and if you guys have something. To start, we're going to start with the headliner, Ladainian Tomlinson.
Yeah, one of the greatest running backs of all time. Really, I don't know. Brett, is he in your top 10 running backs?
I believe, I think I'm going to maybe top 5.
Yeah, but he's got to be in everybody's top 10.
Yeah, you would assume, and I think he holds the record for rushing touchdowns in a season, touchdowns from scrimmage in a season,
and the first running back to rush for 1,000 yards and 100 catches in St.
And 100 catches, right. Yep. And just, this guy's incredible. And I remember that MVP year, and just watching him was just, he was really, I don't want to say the first guy, but at least of my lifetime, the first small school guy. TCU at that time was not what it is today, of really kind of bringing that opening my eyes to the idea that guys can really play everywhere, and he's just an incredible talent.
For sure.
I mean, there's no disagreeing with anybody that said he is top 5. I mean, the things that he did in San Diego year after year, regardless of the talent around him, he still produced at the highest level, and basically, I'd say kept that franchise relevant.
So now let me ask you this, guys. In terms of the Chargers have now moved to Los Angeles. They'll probably retire his number someday. When a franchise does kind of move like that, I mean, do you think that when that happens, is that, since I don't think Ladainian Tomlinson's number is not retired yet, it will be.
I think it is retired.
Is it retired? Okay, they might have just done it. I was just saying. I mean, that's kind of an injustice to those fans who got to watch him. Kurt Warner, grocery bag boy to Super Bowl MVP. Yeah. The real, true, good Cinderella story, if there ever was one. Anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think before this Super Bowl, before Brady just went off, I think Warner had the top 3 passing yards in each Super Bowl game.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, and he only played in the Super Bowl 3 times, but yeah, I mean, you couldn't have written his story any better.
Right.
Where, like you said, grocery bagger to MVP, and then he had a bit of a slump, but then he came back with an amazing campaign with the Cardinals.
Right.
Honestly, I would have waited a couple more years for him.
Okay.
Just because that split between the Rams and the Cardinals, it's a lot bigger than most people think.
Yeah.
But regardless, he's a Hall of Famer.
Right. And to what you said about the slump, I think for me that will always be what I remember about Kurt Warner, that I think a lot of people thought his career was over. When Mark Bulger took over, then he went to the Giants and backed up Eli, and then I don't think
he was Matt Liner's backup.
I was gonna say Arizona didn't even have him pegged as the starter, and next thing you know, they're playing in the Super Bowl, and he's a pick six and a great touchdown reception away from being a 2-time Super Bowl champ.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kurt Warner is, I think, like you said, eventually would have got in, but definitely probably I would have waited as well. Brett, anything on Kurt?
I mean, he led the greatest show on turf.
Greatest show on turf, that's right.
I didn't realize he didn't come into the league until he was 27.
Yeah, he played
in the
indoor.
AFL. Yeah.
Indoor, yeah.
Yeah, and he played one game when he was 27, started all 16 the next year. They go 13-3, he throws 41 touchdowns in his first full season in the NFL. So.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's special. On to the guy, you had just kind of talked about, Terrell Davis. We didn't really catch a whole lot of his career. We were super young.
But, I mean, still, when he was in the league, he was the second best running back behind Emmett.
Right. Maybe Barry. You'd put Barry in there. Barry Sanders, but...
and you could maybe a little bit Jerome Bettis.
Right.
Maybe he wasn't that. No, but I mean, I think the big thing with TD is he showed up in the biggest games.
Absolutely.
He won John Elway his first Super Bowl with a migraine. Yeah. So that's pretty amazing. And then one of the very few people to run for over 2,000 yards in a season.
Yeah.
In '98.
The one thing for me, a friend of mine had brought up the idea that somebody like Sean Alexander, who has 100 career rushing touchdowns, will probably never get in the Hall of Fame, but Terrell Davis does. So I looked at the two and compared them. Terrell Davis played 2 less seasons than Sean Alexander did and had just as many yards. And the only thing that he had more Super Bowls, more MVPs. Yeah. The only thing that he lacked was the touchdowns. But when he played, he was dominant.
Absolutely.
Like you said, even though it was a short career, he just kind of got things.
Let's get Roger Craig in now.
Yes.
Let's get him in. He deserves to get in.
Yeah. Brett, any Any Terrell Davis?
I mean, it's similar to what we were talking. I mean, we already talked about. He did have a short career, but Barry Sanders, had a short career and did great things. Terrell Davis didn't do it to that level,
right?
But he was still a key part of him and Elway being
2-time Super Bowl champs.
Yeah. I mean, without Davis, they probably don't win. They might win one, but they don't win both.
Right. The shocker to me of this class, the guy that I guess I thought maybe had no shot of getting in was Jason Taylor. For some reason, I just felt that this was just kind of weird name on the list.
This was his first year, right?
I believe so, and maybe that's why it was a little weird to me.
Yeah.
But, 139.5 career sacks speaks for itself. But I just did not anticipate him being a first ballot type of player.
Well, and I think it's because, and I agree with you, I think the reason is because he really didn't end his season on a bang. Really, after he left Miami for the first time to go to Washington, he kind of sputtered out.
Right.
But we can't forget, during that time with the Dolphins, who had one of the best defenses of that decade with Zach Thomas and Patrick Surtain. And he was the leader of that team for sure. I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, though.
Right.
A Hall of Famer, certainly, but...
Yeah, not first ballot. No. Completely agree. He got Defensive Player of the Year, led the league in sacks, a lot of forced fumbles, 9 touchdowns. I think the record is it 12? For Charles Woodson has that record.
I don't know.
For defensive touchdowns. But like I said, 139.5 sacks is impressive. I know that's top 10 all time. I don't know if that's top 5. This name, it just didn't pop out at me as this guy needs to be in the Hall of Fame right now. And being a Boston fan, you probably saw a little bit of Jason Taylor. What do you think?
He constantly created havoc for Brady because offensive line's always been something that the Patriots will they find ways to get around struggling with the offensive line, and they used to have a better offensive line when they went through that first 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. But you look at the guy's stats, and he had 6 seasons of double-digit sacks, and really outside of him in the AFC East, there wasn't anybody for that period of time that would really create havoc like that, and he just continued to be a problem regardless if you game plan for him. Belichick game planned for the best player on each side of the ball for every team, and Jason Taylor would still find a way to make things work, kind of like Jason Pierre-Paul does now to the Patriots when they play. But
well, and it seemed like the Dolphins were always the only team to be able to beat the Pats.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. For me, the next guy is kind of it's about time. Even though kickers do not get in very often, I think it's been a little too long for Morn Anderson. That he should have been in almost right away. Maybe not first ballot. I get it. The media probably doesn't hold the kicker to high standards, but when you talk about most points scored in NFL history, most field goal made in NFL history, most attempts, he did have a long career.
Yeah.
But I just think that he should have been in.
I disagree.
No? Okay.
I think really the only kicker/punters in my mind that deserve to be Hall of Famers is Ray Guy, who's already in, and Adam Vinatieri.
Okay. Just because of the big kicks?
Big kicks. He has been kicking for a very long time now.
Right.
I don't know where he's at with points scored.
Okay.
I bet you he's getting close to
Yeah, because I know Mort was the one who sent Atlanta to the first Super Bowl.
Yes.
The game-winning field goal against the Vikings.
Yep. Yeah, I always get him mixed up with Gary Anderson.
Okay.
It's not related.
No.
Gary Anderson also a very good kicker.
Yes.
I'm not. These are all great players. Let's not.
Right. Nothing to take away.
Right. Exactly. But it's just hard for me to pick a kicker over somebody like John Lynch or Ty Law,
right?
Or Terrell Owens. Yeah. It's to me, it's a little ridiculous.
Okay.
Trying to figure out how far behind
Vinatieri is. All right. Well, while Brett looks that up, Ben,
we'll
move on to a guy who's created a lot of controversy, had a lot of success early, not so much late, but I think deserves a spot in Canton. That's Jerry Jones.
Yeah, I mean, he really... I don't know. That's tough for me because I don't know if he should be a Hall of Famer.
Now, if his personality wasn't the way that it is, and because we hear about Jerry Jones because he's the owner GM every single year.
Here's the thing,
if he was Robert Kraft will get in for sure.
Robert Kraft will get in,
but if he was more of a Robert Kraft who didn't necessarily speak all the time, wasn't forcing himself into the media, do you think you'd have a different opinion on Jerry Jones?
A little bit,
okay.
For sure, especially the way Dallas has been playing lately.
Right.
With the two rookies really leading your team to the best record in the NFC. But what I'm thinking is why isn't Jimmy Johnson in? And why is Jerry Jones getting in?
Right. Now, you guys have to correct me here. Now, I know with basketball, it's just the Naismith. Everybody goes into the Naismith, whether it be overseas, whether it be college or professional. Now, the NFL does have... Canton is only NFL.
It's pro football. So you could see an AFL player get in.
Okay. I just... Because to me, if it was... That's what I was getting at with Jimmy Johnson... leading the U and then leading the Cowboys.
That's college football.
Right. And that's what I was trying to figure out.
College has
its
Hall
own
of Fame in
own
Atlanta
separate.
now.
Okay. They do have their own separate Hall of Fame.
And I want to say Jimmy Johnson's in.
Yeah, he should. I mean, he was Barry Sanders' head coach and then the U. I mean, No, I agree with you. Jimmy Johnson should definitely be in the NFL Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah, a lot of coaches, I think, are kind of right now on the cusp of maybe becoming a Hall of Famer, or should be. Right. Don Coryell, Bill Cowher, Marty Schottenheimer.
Right. And I think what you were talking about before, the wide receivers, where we kind of had that backup of receivers for a little bit, and then we had the huge... I think we're going to have a backup of coaches here.
Except no coaches are getting in. We saw Tony Dungy get in last year, and I was happy to see him get in. And then Parcells a couple of years ago. But we need more coaches.
We definitely need more coaches.
I got my two. Well, Jimmy Johnson got elected in 2012 into the College Football Hall of Fame.
Okay.
So he is in there. And Adam Vinatieri is 166 points behind in 3 less seasons. So he should get there next year.
He should get there.
Year and a half probably.
Right.
Depends on... I mean, if he kicks 30 field goals plus 40 extra points, he'll be about 30 points back heading into...
Yeah.
But he's 44, so...
How much longer is he going to kick?
Anderson played till he was 47.
Okay.
I mean, kickers can go...
forever if they really wanted to.
I mean, until they get hit.
Hey, I do want to give a shout-out to the Adam Vinatieri thing, though. My boss, head coach at Concordia, was actually Adam Vinatieri's kicking coach in college at South Dakota State. Yep. So he has a big plaque in his office of him. I don't know if it was the Super Bowl kick, but I know it's a picture of him.
He went to South Dakota?
South Dakota State, Yep. But it's a picture of him kicking a field goal for the Patriots, and it's signed, thank you, Coach Eder, Adam Vinatieri. But which is a pretty... unique story, thinking of how good Vinatieri is. And our last guy, like you said, the one that we probably have no real memory of, Kenny Easley, finally getting in. I have not heard any backlash or
I mean, he was on the All-80s team. Yep. I believe he won AFC Defensive Player of the Year in '83. Won Defensive Rookie of the Year in '81. But besides that, kind of had a short career.
32 career interceptions.
Yeah, I mean that's nothing to hang your hat on.
Right.
I mean, he's a great safety. I think. Or defensive back, I think.
Right.
Kind of those days you were kind of both.
Yeah, kind
usually
of a little bit
safety
of everything.
in the end of your career.
Right.
But we have so many other good defensive backs. I mean, I know he was the senior committee, so
right.
because
they only allow up to 8. I believe it is. The NFL, they cap it.
They do 5 regular nominees, and that's players and coaches.
Okay.
And then every year. This year it was 2 contributors, which was Jerry Jones and Tagliabue, who didn't get in.
Which I'm completely he should have gotten.
I'm very surprised as well. And then they did one senior committee. So next year it's going to be 2 seniors, 1 contributor.
Okay.
They do it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm very surprised Paul Tagliabue didn't get in.
That's disappointing.
With Roger Goodell in, I think people are starting to appreciate Tagliabue a little bit more.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I remember when that change took place, and I wasn't happy because I thought Paul Tagliabue was a very good
commissioner.